Sometimes a film comes around, and after watching it, you cannot believe that something so insulting or so tone-deaf was ever released. You cannot comprehend the decisions made to either greenlight the film for production, pay for its distribution, or present it with multiple awards at such places as Cannes, Venice, the Golden Globes, SAG, and eventually the Academy Awards. But what you have to remember is that despite the belief that woke identity politics and the cult of woke is diminishing in the wake of Donald Trump's victory, there will always be pockets of insanity that infect our pop culture. The Netflix movie Emilia Perez, starring Zoe Saldana, Selena Gomez, and transgender actor Karla Sofia Gascon, previously known as Juan Carlos Gascon, is exactly this type of woke mind virus. Not only does it poorly portray themes of transgender identity, it manages to insult an entire country, that of Mexico, and minimize the severity of the violence that victimizes the majority of Mexico's average everyday citizens to the point of turning real, visceral pain suffered by hundreds of thousands of families into parody. And, to add insult to injury, the film desecrates the most sacredly held religious figure in all of Mexico, the Virgin Mary, in a way that is both shocking and nauseating. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I was going to try and ignore this one because it hits so close to home, but after Emilia Perez has won such prizes as the American Film Institute's 2025 Film of the Year, the Jury Prize at Cannes, the Golden Globes Best Picture, and multiple awards for Gascon and Saldana, as well as director-writer Jacques Audiard, and will probably be nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards, I decided to watch the film and review it from the perspective of sanity and honesty. Two things the film itself lacks from beginning to end. And not only have I tried to include my thoughts throughout this review, but as a person who currently lives south of the border, I asked the opinion of as many Mexican citizens as I could about what they thought. And believe me, none of it was good. In fact, most thought the film I was describing could not have been real, that it was some sort of sick joke, that I was just being an ugly American. Unfortunately, the film is real. And did I mention that this is also a musical? Yeah, as bad as the actual narrative is, the cringe meter went up tenfold with the inclusion of musical numbers, most about surgical procedures, chopping off one's penis, or psychological issues post-surgery, and how these issues are society's fault, not the mentally ill individual who willingly puts themselves through mutilation. And just so we're clear, I do not view transgender as stunning and brave, as this film and woke Hollywood would have you believe. I really don't care what someone over the age of 18 does with their body, as long as it does not hurt anyone else. However, don't ask me to look at this choice to go through such a procedure as a sane one. I don't. I think it's important that you know my biases because unlike Emilia Perez, I believe in being honest with the audience. We first meet Rita, played by Zoe Saldana. She's a lawyer in Mexico City and she's the victim of the patriarchy. We know this because she sings it. Her boss is less competent than she is, her clients are accused of violence against women, but her job is to defend them, and she's not paid as much as the men above her for her work. Instead of tackling these issues like a normal person would with rational thinking, such as quit working for the firm you're working for and open up your own practice to take on cases you find important and meaningful, therefore dictating your own salary, Rita, for some reason, is given a scene where she needs to ask for a tampon and rush to the bathroom. While in the bathroom, Rita gets a phone call from an unknown man. The man tells her that he will make her rich and that she needs to be at the newsstand outside, at night, in the dark, by herself, in a part of Mexico City that I myself, as a 6'1", 240-pound male, would never be caught dead at. But Rita does just this. So Rita is not a smart person. She is abducted, a bag placed over her head, and whisked away in an SUV. She is brought to what appears to be an outdoor celebration in the middle of the Mexican desert. Pickup trucks, loud music, the sound of celebration. Except this is a cartel getting together for business. Rita is placed inside a box truck with lots of telecommunications and surveillance equipment, and she's sitting across from Manitas, the leader of the largest cartel in the north of Mexico. Manitas tells her that she will be rich if she helps him. He wants to disappear, as a woman, because he has, since his first thought after birth, always knew he was a woman. And here's where it goes off the rails. The film, for the first few minutes, was addressing violence against women, a national epidemic in Mexico, and decided that no, that's not important. What is important is transgender activism. And yes, Manitas is Karla Gascon, a biological male that transitioned into a woman being dressed up now like a man, and it looks as silly as it sounds. Rita, being a person who just a few minutes ago had some sort of moral center, abandons that right away and agrees to help Manitas by finding the right surgeon to do the job. Rita is given all the money and resources possible, basically full access to Manitas' drug fortune. So, let's recap the first 20 minutes. Rita, frustrated with defending and aiding men who harm women, is now excited and liberated by the task of helping a cartel leader, someone responsible for thousands of acts of violence, and at least 50% of them against women, because cartels love human trafficking. The film's message is clear, as Manitas puts it in song. He only became what he became to hide the truth from others. So it is society's inability to accept his mental disorder, to mutilate his gender, that forced him to live a life of ultra-violence in pursuit of money and power. Therefore, if the world just accepted transgender kids and allowed life-altering surgery to occur even before they reach puberty, then maybe all of this drug war nonsense would just evaporate into history. Seriously, what the fuck? As well, the film has a line that is repeated a few times. To listen is to accept. Basically, we, as a culture, have no choice in the matter but to accept this line of identity and gender messaging. The minute we hear it, we must accept it. But no time to ponder this. Rita flies first class to Bangkok to meet with the director of a gender-affirming care clinic that is filled with dozens of smiling and euphoric patients in various stages of transitioning. This is the perfect time for a song, which starts out,
men to woman, or woman to men,
man to woman,
from penis to vagina.
The song is performed with so much enthusiasm and excitement over the mere mentioning of shaving an Adam's apple and the choreography of men on their backs, legs in the air, ready to cut it off, and dancing nurses, and women waiting for their faces to heal after having implants to augment male characteristics in their chin and nose. What a celebration! But Rita cannot find a doctor all over the world because Manitas wants to remain anonymous so he can disappear. Then she finds one who she convinces with a duet that goes a little something like this. Change your mind, change your soul, change society over and over again. That's right, the problem is society. Not the idea that anonymous transgender surgery for nefarious reasons on a nefarious person. Nope, it's society. I'm the problem and you're the problem. How can I or you be so intolerant? Can't you see that what is important is that Manitas gets the life he wants? Why are you dwelling on insignificant details like the hundreds of mass graves he's filled with his drug wars, the thousands of people being poisoned by his product, the thousands of families watching those thousands of loved ones descending into death because of his peddling of drugs, the thousands of lives he cut short that will never be able to live out their dreams or fulfill their wants and needs? You bigot. What's important is what Manitas wants, that he gets to live his life because the acceptance of his gender dysphoria is the priority here, not justice for his crimes against humanity. Only a bigot like you or me would think differently. So the doctor has an epiphany and sees his own bigotry and agrees to meet with Manitas, which of course he is reminded, to listen is to accept. Here we meet Jessie, played by Selena Gomez, Manitas' wife and mother to Manitas' 2 children. I know, just a few minutes ago we learned that Manitas was always feeling like a woman, so why did he marry a woman and impregnate her twice? Hey, it's society's fault. Remember, he would not do the things he's done if we allowed him to become a girl when he was just a little boy. But don't worry, Manitas has a heart of gold. Rita has already given the children and Jessie new fake passports for Switzerland, set up all the accounts, so when Manitas disappears, fakes his own death, and transitions into a woman, the family will be taken care of. Of course, his children and his wife will all be left in the dark about everything and believe Manitas to be dead, but that's not important. What's important is that Manitas lives happily ever after. Rita agrees to escort them all to Switzerland as Manitas becomes Emilia, who's ecstatic one day in recovery when she spreads her legs and with a mirror admires her new vagina. After this, 4 years go by. Rita is living in London, wealthy and happy. Jessie and the kids are in Switzerland, far away from the home and country that they love, trying to put the pieces back together. And Emilia, formerly Manitas, decides after everything they set up and after all the personal devastation they wrought upon her children and his wife, well, Emilia decides that she misses her children and finds Rita to get them all back to Mexico City. Rita does this by making up a story about Emilia being a distant cousin of Manitas, and that for her safety, Jessie and the kids will live with her in Mexico for now. Through some self-reflection, Emilia, after settling in with the kids and Jesse and becoming their aunt Emilia, decides to open up a non-profit organization in Mexico to help recover the remains of those hundreds and thousands of victims who've been disappeared by the cartels over the past couple of decades. Yep, you heard me right. Emilia, with the help of Rita, is going to create a business that gets Emilia national recognition for humanitarian work, and this business is basically going to recover the remains of those that probably were killed because of Emilia's past actions. And then she's going to deliver those remains to the grieving families looking for closure and hug them and console them and receive awards from society for her work, while she and Rita chastise the patriarchal government of Mexico for corruption and not doing enough to help these families in the first place. And no shit, I cannot fucking make this up. Emilia is a national hero at this point, a media darling, and she's become so good at recovering people. Why? Because she knows who did the killing. She knows all the sicarios and sends Rita to get the information from them. And there is singing and choreography from the grieving yet now grateful throngs of women and children as they join forces with Emilia to uncover the truth of the location of their loved ones. And if you're not absolutely sickened at this point by how this is glorified, how this person is glorified at this point in the film, just wait, it gets worse. And remember, this is all okay because she's trans. It's not her fault. She's the biggest victim of them all. Meanwhile, Emilia begins a lesbian relationship with a woman, Epifania, who seeks help from her at her new business. Does Emilia tell her the truth about her past life? No. Does Emilia sucker this woman into loving relationship under false pretenses? Absolutely. But again, it's okay because she's trans. But Emilia cannot stand that Jessie, the woman she was married to until she faked her death and abandoned her and the children, well, Jessie is moving on with another man, planning to get married and move to Polanco, a different section of Mexico City. Emilia loses it at the thought of Jessie taking away her children. I know. Again, does this make any sense? No, Emilia abandoned her children out of selfish reasons, because of mental disorders, and should have no right to see these children whatsoever. But we're supposed to feel empathy for Emilia because the film portrays Jessie as an absentee mother. But really, she isn't. She's a young Mexican woman forced to live in Switzerland, a climate not many Mexicans would like, and then gets the chance to be back home. I think cutting her some slack as she cuts loose a little bit and enjoys her culture is reasonable. But nope, not for Emilia Perez, who physically and verbally abuses her, tries to threaten her to make her stay because she has to say to Jessie, "Those are my children," even though Jessie has no clue why she would say this. Then Emilia has Gustavo, Jessie's fiance, beaten and threatened and given money to leave Mexico City forever. But that only makes Jessie take off in the middle of the night with the kids, having no choice but to leave an unsafe and abusive situation. But again, we must have empathy and compassion for this stunning and brave Emilia. She's trans, and this is all okay. Emilia decides to cut Jessie and the kids off financially at this point. Emilia deactivates all of the accounts Rita set up for Jessie, and now Jessie cannot even buy food for her children. In retaliation, Gustavo and Jessie kidnap Emilia and send Rita a package with 3 of Emilia's fingers in it. Although Rita is terrified at this point, she really shouldn't be. Emilia's used to having things cut off by now. The exchange? $30 million for Emilia's safety. It turns into a shootout. Emilia is put in the trunk of Gustavo's car after Jessie learns the truth about Emilia's identity. Gustavo drives off, Jessie riding shotgun. Jessie has a change of heart, pulls a gun on Gustavo, a struggle ensues, and the car careens off of a cliff and explodes into flames, killing Gustavo, Jessie, and Emilia. Rita takes over the fortune and stays to raise the kids in Mexico after all the death, but the final insult to the Mexican people is in the final scene. A religious procession is led by Emilia's lesbian lover through the streets of Mexico City, and instead of the traditional Virgin Mary statue, it is replaced with one of Emilia, mimicking and, in my opinion, mocking Guadalupe, the most important religious figure in the history of Mexico. I cannot stress enough how important the image of Mary is in this culture. Every home I've ever been in, every business, every restaurant, every convenience store has some depiction of Mary within it. Guadalupe, as they call Mary here, is ubiquitous and synonymous with the Mexican culture. To have her replaced with the statue of a transgender, mass-murdering cartel leader who committed acts of violence against the people, the country, even their own loved ones, is the ultimate insult to this culture. There may be nothing worse than this to demean and ridicule this entire nation. Yet this film is heralded by the liberal press and woke Hollywood because their cult, Their religion is the one you should care about. Replacing traditional Christianity with transgender ideology is a woke wet dream, one that is not only revealed in this film, but outright called for. When I tell ordinary Mexican citizens, people that I've known for years, about this ending, most do not speak. They simply look at me, their faces in shock or showing a sense of deep hurt and insult, and they simply walk away. They have nothing to say at that point. What is there to say when a film like this is made? And the only question, why? What did the Mexican culture do to the production staff, the director, the writer, the actors to make them attack it with such ferocity and such hate? But then I remembered, none of that matters. What matters is the message, the trans agenda, the destruction of tradition, the destruction of culture. Emilia Perez is not the beginning. It is the continuation of woke, a continuation of the sickness that has infected society over the past 6 years. It is not going away anytime soon, and it does not care about you. It only cares about destroying what you care about. And that's why it wins awards, and why it will continue to win as the months continue. And that's what I think. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I thank you for watching. Remember, I'm still your reluctant gringo from somewhere south of the border. Salud and a huevo.